Over the past 20 years, I have really come to value the role of a teacher in the life of a child. If you think about it, the teacher tends to see your child probably more hours of the day than you do. And they know your child really well. And over the last week, I was reminded about the role of the teacher, and a teacher who really cares. They can make an enormous difference to a child with behavior and concentration problems. Parents do not always see these problems at home. They're not always impulsive. They have free range at home. They don't have to sit in a chair and listen for long periods of time. And parents might not always see problems that are different at school, that are related to learning, sitting, listening, doing. And these can be really confusing to parents when they're constantly hearing criticism or concerns from the teacher, and they don't see these at home. Often the teacher is blamed. Parents seem to think, well, the teacher's got it in for my child. They don't like them. There's a personality clash. And, they might often say, well, maybe it's just a matter of maturity. These things will come right. And often professionals give advice to parents. Just get them some exercise, get them outside, change their diet, look at their sugar intake, and I'm sure these things will go away. But at home when you're dealing with your child one-to-one, they've got time to do work. But perhaps there is a problem. Learning problems are impacted by focus. And when a child's got to sit and do things under a different circumstance at school, there are problems that the teacher sees. There are social problems that are seen at school. Your child's got to interact with so many different personalities. And when it comes down to a teacher being honest, it's very difficult for a teacher to keep on persisting telling parents about problems. And if they sense that a parent's resistant, they're not necessarily going to share those things. And I was really impressed this last week when there was a teacher who had the foresight and the ability and the honesty to be really honest with parents. And that honesty was the tipping point, was the factor that made the biggest difference in allowing the parents to see exactly what the problem was with their child. And I ask parents and teachers to fill in a rating scale assessment form online. And that form that the teacher filled in during an assessment that I recently did was literally the crucial piece of the puzzle. And when those parents saw what the teacher commented and spoke about and was sharing of what happened in class, you could see those parents, after initially having lots of criticism, worrying about whether the teacher was the problem, they fell silent and they could see exactly what happened. That teacher's report was literally worth many hours of therapy. The parents were able to come to the understanding of what their child's problem is. So to me, if parents hear and get feedback from a teacher, don't necessarily ignore things, particularly if they are over each year. There's a recurrent theme of problems. If many teachers are saying the same things, there definitely is a problem. And I know it is difficult when you don't see those problems at home. But remember, school is a different environment, particularly when children are not impulsive, they don't have behavior problems. It's very difficult to accept that your child has a concentration problem. Remember, if there's a concentration problem and your child is not focusing, they're not really attending every day at school. It's like missing 2 days a week. And think of the impact if your child is not concentrating and missing 2 days a week at school. That's 40% of the entire year. It can have a huge impact on academics, poor self-esteem. And at the end of the time, it actually then presents as a learning problem. Because if a child is missing 40% of a year, it's going to present as a learning problem. So my advice to parents, if the teacher's concerned about something, talk to them. And often, in my experience, there definitely is an underlying problem. So the value of an honest teacher that's prepared to put themselves out there and tell you about a problem, I'd really take it seriously.